Today I'm going to show you how to make a crochet bralette. So first off, I'm using this Craft Smart yarn that I just bought at Michael's, I think. It was really cheap. You don't have to buy super expensive yarn for this. It is a worsted weight yarn. It says it is number 4. And then I'm using a crochet hook that is slightly smaller than what the packaging says. So I'm using a size 6 or size G crochet hook. It's pretty small. For this pattern that I designed, you kind of want a crochet hook that's going to be a little smaller than what's recommended so that your bra cups will have a little bit of texture. But you do want a yarn that's not going to be too stiff. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so first off, you want to start out by making a slip knot. Then you're going to chain 12 stitches. Okay, so after your 12 stitches, you will crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. So normally you'll only skip 1. This time you're going to skip 2. You're going to do a half double crochet into every stitch. Okay, so once you've put a half double crochet into every remaining chain, you should have 10 left. So you'll have 10 stitches. You're going to put another half double crochet into the last chain so that there's 2 in the last chain. And then you'll chain stitch 1, and then you will half double crochet into the last chain again, and then 1 more time into the last chain. So now you're going to crochet into each of these little X's that are on the back sides of the stitches, and you're going to do 9 more stitches back down to the other end of your piece of crochet. And what I do for the end is that I crochet over it. So I yarn over, and then I stick my crochet hook under both pieces of the stitch that I need to crochet into and under the yarn tail, so that when I yarn over again and pull through, the yarn tail is inside the stitch, and that way I don't have to weave in the ends. Okay, and now that you are at the end of the remaining stitches, you have completed your first row. So going all the way around the bra, all the way around both sides counts as 1 row. So you're going to, I'll show you how to do the 2nd row. So you're going to chain 2, turn your work and then half double crochet into each stitch as you normally would until you get to the chain stitch from the last row. Okay, so now that you are at the chain stitch, you can put a stitch marker in the chain stitch if you want to keep track of it. I normally just look at the stitches and I can see that this is a chain stitch that doesn't have a half double crochet under it. But if you prefer to put a stitch marker, you'll put a stitch marker in the chain stitch to keep track of where the middle of your rows are. So now you can see that there's sort of a larger hole under the chain stitch than there are under the half double crochets. So you're going to place 2 half double crochets into the chain stitch. Then you will chain again, and this is where you'll replace your stitch marker. If you're going to use a stitch marker, you'll put it back on this chain, and then you will place 2 more half double crochets into the same chain stitch as before, the space under the chain stitch. And then you will take the next stitch in the row and half double crochet once into it. And then you can continue placing 1 half double crochet into each stitch until you get to the end of your row again. Okay, so now you will continue your rows the same as the second row. You will start with your chain 2, turn, and half double crochet until you get to your chain. And then once you get to the chain in the middle, you'll continue putting 2 half double crochets into the space under the chain 1, and then 2 more half double crochets, and then half double crochet as normally to the end of the row. And you'll do this until this straight side at the end of your rows measures the bottom of your cup size. So I'm gonna leave a chart in the description of this video so that you can see that, but if you're making this for yourself, you can just try it on and see if the cup fits your cup size, and you can just continue doing rows in this same way until the cup fits your cup size. Okay, so this is how it will start to look. You can see that it's got sort of a shape to it, so it is cup shaped. And like I said before, I use the smaller hook than the yarn requires to give it sort of structure. It holds its shape pretty well, and this will help give you more support if you're going to wear this top without a bra. This is how it will start looking. You'll just keep doing the same steps that I described before until your cup is as big as you need it to be, and then you will do those exact same steps again to make the other cup. So I will see you when I have 2 cups. Alright, once you reach the end of your cup, you're finished crocheting, and you need to tie off. Instead of tying off right away, you are first going to place some chain stitches at the end. So this is going to eventually become your band. So you need to make it at least 8 inches long, depending on how long your band is and how much of the back you want to be the corset section. I usually make mine about this long so that the corseted section in the back can be pretty wide, but right now I'm going to make it a little bit longer actually. Okay, keep in mind that the crochet fabric is a bit stretchy, so you don't want to make it too long, and that you'll double this and add the width of the cups, so it doesn't need to be super long. Okay, now that you have your 2 bra cups with the tail at the end, you're going to cut off one of them, and you will not cut off the second. So you'll leave your chain attached. I have 32 chains on both of mine. I'm going to single crochet into, skip 1 chain, and then single crochet into every stitch along the chain. Once you have a single crochet in every one of your chain stitches, you are going to crochet a single crochet into each row of the bottom of your bralette cup. So I usually place mine in the post of the first stitch of the row. If it seems a little tight, feel free to add another stitch, but you want it to stay evenly distributed, and it doesn't matter if it starts to curve a little because you want your cup to be curved anyway. When you reach the end of your first cup, you're going to take the other side of your second cup, you'll match them up in the corners, and crochet into both of them at once. So you'll crochet into the first stitch on both of them at once. And then after you do that, you'll open it up again and crochet 1 stitch into each post of each row on the way across your second cup. And this will create a join here in between the 2 cups. Once you reach the end and you get back to your chain, you will again put 1 single crochet in each chain. Your next row is going to be completely half double crochet. So you will do 2 single chain stitches and then turn your work, and you'll be able to crochet 1 half double crochet stitch into each one of your stitches from the previous row, because we crocheted all the way across the bottom of both cups, so you'll have your simple V's like you normally have. Okay, once you've completed your half double crochet row, if you just want a bikini top, you can skip right ahead to the straps. I'm going to add on a few more rows just to make this into more of a crop top than a bikini top, but you can make this whatever length you want, and you don't need to add anything if you don't want to. I've put ruffles on them before. I've seen people put lace on them. I've put scalloped edges on them. You can put pretty much whatever you want at this point. I'm just gonna add on a few more half double crochet rows to make it a little bit longer, and then I will move on to the straps. Okay, as you can see, I've just done some double crochets to extend the length of the band. You can make that as long or as short as you want it. So the next step is going to be to tie off your yarn. And then you're going to find the top of the cup, find that slot where the chain stitch is, where you would normally have put your 4 half double crochets into, and then use that to pull your yarn through and pull the cut end all the way through. Then just tie a knot. Make sure that it's secure, and stick your yarn through again and pull 1 loop through. So then you'll just chain stitch until these are at least about a yard long, because there's going to be a corset back and a tie, so you need a lot of room. I like to make them extra long just to be sure, because you can always make them shorter, but it's pretty hard to make them longer. Okay, once you have your straps completed and they're the same length, you can cut them off. And then how I weave in the ends, so I go through these bumps that are on the back. So here's the V side, and then I go through the bumps that are on the back here. So I just stick my hook in under the bump and I pull it through. And you only have to do this a couple times because you're going to tie a knot so that the straps, after you've laced them through the corset part of the back. So I'll just do it one more time. Okay, so like about an inch, and you should be good. So your next step is going to be to lace up the back. So I usually fold it like this, how it's basically going to be worn. I move the ends out of the way. I don't move them in till the very end. So then you'll take your, I also like to make sure that this side with the V's is the outside part. So I'm actually going to flip this over. And then I will fold this in, because you're going to be lacing through these stitches at the back here. So I take this one, you cross it over, and then I use the hook to help me. I stick it through the post of, like in between the first 2 stitches, the posts of the first 2 stitches, and then I use the hook to help me pull it through, and then I pull it so that it's tight. You don't have to cross the back, but I think that it works a little better. so I do it. And then I do one row at a time so that I know that my two straps are about even. So that's about even. Then I will cross them over and do the next row. I usually skip a row too. I do every other row. And then I cross them over again, skip a row, and then stick it through the post. This is much easier if you lay it on the floor like I have it too, or on your work surface. And I'll cross it over and weave it through one more time. And this way, with the corset back, you have adjustable for how loose or tight you want it, or if you need the band to be a little tighter, or the straps to be a little tighter. And the last step is that I take my straps and I tie them in a knot. And I make sure to get this end in the knot so that I can snip it. And then I tie them in another knot so that they won't fall through the corset back as easily. And now all you need to do is weave in the ends and you're finished.